And good evening, everybody, and welcome to the weekly purification journey. This is week 1, January 2022. Welcome. So we are going to have a fun time tonight, give you lots of information. I've promised to slow my speech down. So if you have any questions, please just type in the chat. Marianne is monitoring that. And let's get started. So this is a program that I've done now. This is my 16th year teaching it. Personally done it. I do it at least twice a year for the past 16 years, and then some. I've done sometimes 3 and 4 times in a year. So for the next 21 days, this is a program I really am excited for you to enjoy and enjoy this journey, because it's really a way to cleanse your liver. I mean, I know what you did on, the holidays, because I saw a lot of that stuff on Facebook, and let me just tell you, you're in the right place. So we're going to really, I think the biggest thing for this with me is that we're going to modify your whole lifestyle. We're going to create a new normal. And I've always been in the mindset that what you eat and how you take care of your body. And when we do a 21 day, it's not a destination. You don't get done at the end of the 21 days and go back to where you were. It's a journey. So it's creating another step, a next step for you to create a new normal for yourself. So we're going to do the first week is really going to kick up the body's ability to release the toxins from your liver. We're going to get you set up with a cookbook so you can have some recipes to look at for creating some fancy foods. The first week, we're going to concentrate more vegetables and some plant-based protein, a little bit of fruit. So if you're on a weight management program, so if you want to lose a little bit of weight, I always say to kind of drop the fruit down a little bit, limit it to berries. And you'll be drinking shakes for the day, and you'll be eating food. So don't think it's just about shakes and starving yourself. That's not how this works. So this is week 1. We'll be together for the next 3 weeks after this night. I'll send the recording in the morning so you can review it if you need to. And I think the biggest thing that I find is that, we get toxic and it makes us tired. We gain weight. That middle section that the belly fat that we get is really liver toxicity. We have poor digestion. And so this 21-day program is really key in really purifying your body and really transforming your life. I mean, when I first did it, I've learned so much on this whole journey for my own self. And it's not that I've been perfect and I'm perfect all the time, but I've made some grand choices and changes in my life. And I feel better for it. And as I learn better, I do better. So I want that to be your experience as well. So why do we purify? So we've got 80,000 chemicals that are registered for the use in the US just on a daily basis. And that goes up every year because they're finding new things to create. Many of these chemicals are also disruptors to our body. They're endocrine disruptors, they're immune system disruptors, they're nervous system disruptors, and they also kind of challenge the reproductive system as well. So we have 80,000 chemicals that are registered for use. 800 million pounds of pesticides and herbicides are used every year. And then there are 167 industrial chemicals that are found in our bodies for people that are not even near that kind of work or employment. So we're getting it from someplace. We're getting it from the air we breathe and the foods we eat. So you are what you eat. And for me, I think it's only appropriate that they call the American diet the SAD diet, the standard American diet, because it is sad. If you look to the picture here, you can see the pizza and all the food that we've grown to love and enjoy, but we see the health results that we have. So I'm asking you to make a different choice. And I always say this sounds terrible, but when we make choices, and everything that you eat is either an act of nutrition or an act of suicide. It's your choice what you put in your mouth. I'm not making you do this, but you see that there's a need for this to make a change in your body, clean it up, treat it well. I mean, my body's a temple, and I would like to return this temple in good repair instead of trashing it before I return it. So we have a system already set up in our body to manage all this. I mean, it's an amazing system that's already there. Problem is, it wasn't really designed to handle all the toxins that we are exposed to in a day. So we have toxins that are exogenous that come from the outside, and then we have toxins that our own body makes. So we have a whole metabolic system that our body uses to clean up the body. And it's a wonderful system, just like I said, never designed to do what we've asked it to do. So there are 3 phases of it, and we'll talk about that as we go. So toxins really can affect your health. They cause fatigue, difficulty sleeping, some GI problems, food cravings, weight gain, reduced mental clarity, and low libido. I mean, those are the key things. I think for me, doing it on the 21 day, I always have just really, I'm sharp, mental clarity. I can get projects done. I can get focused because I have, my body's being just really like a clean energy running. And I love that. Sleeping better. I mean, the first night, I always sleep amazing. That is if you cut your caffeine down. So you have to understand, we live in a toxic environment. It's all full of chemicals and toxins that, you know, you can't really help. We can't live in a bubble. So think about, we have air and water pollutants, we have cigarette smoke. So I go out to ride my bike in the morning and it's 6:45 in the morning. There's not a soul on the street in my neighborhood, but yet I can smell cigarette smoke. Well, if I can smell it, it's getting in my body. So if you're driving a car and you smell exhaust or diesel fuel, guess what? You're getting that in your system, whether you realize it or not. If you get out of bed in the morning, look at our personal healthcare products. And you go to brush your teeth, if you're not using the right toothpaste, you're putting chemicals in there. The hairsprays, the makeup, the lotions, the shampoos, the body soaps, all those things can be toxins to the body. Hair shampoo, you want to make sure you read the ingredients. One of the big ingredients for a common ingredient is sodium lauryl sulfate. Sodium lauryl sulfate is also used in car washes. So your choice. Do you want to put that on your body, or would you make a better choice? And there's all kinds of products out there that you can use. We have heavy metal toxicity. We have household cleaning products. Look under your sink. I mean, there's a whole, you know, plethora of things there that we use that are toxic to our system. Pesticides and herbicides, even though we don't use it, my neighbors spray. So are we going to get that? I remember as a kid here in Florida, we thought it was the coolest thing to follow the mosquito fog truck. Oh, how stupid were we? But luckily we lived, and now you know why I'm this way. But those are the things we did all along. We don't do that as adults, hopefully, but you know, we have had that experience. Pharmaceuticals, preservatives, additives, trans fats, even like our plastic that we drink out of. You know, back in the day, the baby bottles and the pacifiers all were bisphenol A plastic, and that plastic was actually a neurotoxin. So we had this whole endocrine disruption throughout our life that we didn't even know. So we were getting toxins that we were just doing the right thing. So now we know, and we make better choices. And we'll talk about that in these next 3 weeks as we go. So all those things we're exposed to, and then inside our body, we have carbon dioxide, ammonia, and then free radicals. So those are all things that we have to manage. But we do have a system. So we have several organs that help us. The big one being the chief of the detox is the liver. It is the big filter of toxins. Everything you eat, drink, smell, taste, whatever, goes through your body, goes through your liver. Goes through your liver, gets cleaned up and reproduces and gets out, and the nutrients get in our body, but the toxins are taken out. So it aids in metabolizing fat, protein, and carbohydrates, and actually transforms toxins into that harmless agent. But you also have to remember, it makes sugar, it breaks sugar down. It makes fat, breaks fat down. There are all kind of branched chain amino acids. There's support for the thyroid. There's support for the adrenal glands. So it does a whole host of things. Oh, 600 that's 600 things that the whole liver can do. And there are probably many more functions that it has. Kidneys are the next step, because kidneys are the way we get those toxins out of the body. So it filters the waste, and we get to get rid of the excess fluid. We regulate and release the right balance of sodium and phosphorus, so we have no pressure on our heart, so we're not hypertensive, and helps the body to function properly. We also have small intestine. So small intestine, I always call it the guard dog of the digestive system. So the stomach is super acidic. That's like 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.2, maybe even 2.0 as far as acidity. When it's that acidic, as we eat the food, it goes in and breaks the food up into small particles. The next step, those small particles go into the small intestine. Well, the small intestine has two choices. So when those toxins come in, when those food particles come in, if they're not digested small enough, the small intestine has the choice. It says, okay, you guys can come in, and it can make a bad decision, or it says you guys are too big and you throw up. But if it makes a bad decision and brings them in, then that causes a whole host of things like leaky gut. Those big particles then kind of rupture the little tiny membranes in the small intestine and break them open. Those particles then get in the blood system, and the blood says, oh my gosh, we've got a foreign invader, and we set up a whole immune response to attack that. It can come out as a skin rash or acne or breakout on the face. So that's what we call leaky gut. So we want to make sure that those particles, food particles, are digested properly before they get into the small intestine, because the small intestine is very alkaline. It's not designed to break anything down. It's designed to have small things absorbed. So like I said, it's a big barrier for to block those toxins, but it can make bad choices. So if it gets into this large intestine, the large intestine, you have to understand, is your immune system. It's your gut health. It's your producer of serotonin. So 75% of your gut-assisted lymph tissue is in your large intestine. That's why we take probiotics. So we want to create a good gut microbiome. You hear that nowadays. And the microbiome of a good gut is that we have good bacteria that helps to eat all the bad stuff. But if we feed the bacteria sugar, we develop the wrong kind of bacteria, and then we create a whole host of problems with that. It kind of depresses our immune system. So we want to make sure we have the good probiotics. So when we're eating like the vegetables on the Purification Program, and some of the supplementation that we use will actually help your gut microbiome. So you're hosting healthy gut bacteria. And remember, those gut bacteria are so important because that's your whole GI health. So we want to really work on that. So when we talk about the metabolic detoxification, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but this is what we look at. We have 3 steps. We have a phase where we unlock it. And so we take those toxins and we unlock the toxins. The problem is when we unlock them, we can make them actually more toxic than their original form. So then we have to have phase 2, and phase 2 is very, very important to neutralize those toxins. And in phase 2, it makes them very water soluble, and then the kidneys can excrete them in the phase 3 to eliminate. And we can excrete it through urine, through feces, through sweat, through respiration, through your lymph. So we have a lot of ways to get it out, but it has to be broken down into that water soluble form. And that happens in that phase 2. And once again, I agree, we have the system already in place. It was just never designed to host all the challenges that we are good at giving it. So this is the liver. So we've got, like I said, it's humongous in what it does. I have a 4-hour class I can teach you, and I teach doctors that. I don't think that's necessary, but I think that if you can understand that this is the primary organ, the big Mac Daddy of detoxification. So anything that we do for supplementation is going to initially help create and push us into that phase 2 detox. And also then we're going to support the liver and make it a little healthier. So the foods that you eat, our diets, like I said, that SAD diet, standard American diet, is what causes our toxic overload and excess weight. So we have chemicals in our foods like monosodium glutamate, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, trans fats, and the big Mac Daddy, sugar. Now, next week, I'll talk about sugar, so I won't go into it too deeply, but you have to understand it's a huge problem in the United States today. And this is what we're eating. So this is America. So you can go to Disney, you can go to Disney World, and you can walk around, and you can tell right away who the Americans are and who the Europeans are. Because the Europeans are sitting at a table, and they have a sandwich they've cut into 4 pieces, and they're eating it, and they're having small drinks. The Americans are walking around with the big turkey leg and the big, giant soda that they're drinking. So we just eat too much. And, the other thing about that, if we're going to eat these kind of foods, you have to understand they're made to last a long time on shelves. So 3,000 chemicals are added to those foods to make that happen. And when we talk about sugar, Americans consume more than 75 pounds of sugar annually. And if I'm not eating that and you're not eating that, somebody's eating our share. That's a lot of sugar. So, and that's, it's a big contributor for the caloric intake of American diets. And 16%, these are some numbers from 2010. It's hard to get some updated numbers. I'm still working on that, but I would imagine it's much higher now, even though we have the information. That's what's so frightening to me. So here's the chemicals that the US lets we can have in our food. So Carnauba wax, yum. So some of your vitamins, like if you get over-the-counter vitamins, you can look on the label and it'll say Carnauba wax. If you eat gummies, guess what? Carnauba wax. So I'm not sure if it just shines up your intestines so it makes everything slip out the other end, but the government is allowing that in there. Carnauba wax is what we put on our cars to protect our cars, the paint on our vehicles. So I don't really want that in my food. Ethylene glycol or propylene glycol, either one, that's antifreeze. But what do they use it in? Lots of things. So we use Carnauba wax and gummies, your gummy bears or any gummy vitamins, any of those things like that. So if you're an adult and you're taking a gummy vitamin, I would like for you to grow up. They're made from chewed up bones, and I'll go into that. I ruin everything for you. So you just have to get used to that. So ethylene glycol, they use it in ice cream so that you can easily scoop that ice cream out. What a brilliant idea. And, we know what antifreeze is for. So I want you to be able to experience more real food than fake food. And I think part of this journey is to really kind of reinstigate that, what we used to do. The picture on the left here, when we went to Mexico City a couple of years ago, when you could travel, this was the market. This is the local market. This is the foods they eat and bought. Isn't that, it just looks fantastic. Then you go to America and we have the fake foods, foods that have no nutritional value. The foods on that one picture on the left those are foods that are nutrition rich and fiber dense. The foods on the right have no nutrition value at all, but they're cheap. So that's people's excuse for using them. So if you are near my Eustis office, you are welcome to come in to get on the InBody, because I think that's really helpful for you to know. If you don't live in this area and you're out of state, I've got a couple of you out of state, just contact us and I'll let you know where the closest InBody to you is, and let's get you weighed on that. So this will give you your information for your BMI, your body mass index, and you want that body mass index to be in a certain range. So here's your range. So when we look at the range here, we look at the normal body weight should be 18.5 to 24.9. Overweight, if your BMI is 25 to 29.9, and obese if it's 30 or more. So here's a fancy formula to be able to figure that out. Don't do that. Here's a chart. So it pretty much shows you can kind of see your weight, and you can see your weight and your height and that kind of deal. So it's your height and your weight and then a coefficient formula. So I'm 5'4" and I weigh 130. So my BMI is 22. So if you don't know what your BMI is and you can get to the office, we'll weigh you at the office, or I will find an InBody near you. They may charge you to do that, but it's always a great way. And next week I'll explain what the InBody does, so you can see the difference on that. So if you have a question, type it in the chat and we'll get to that at the end. So there's also a toxicity questionnaire. I sent that out last week in an email to you. I'll send it again in the morning so you can fill that out as well, along with the recipe book. So what can happen in 21 days? A lot. It takes 21 days to change it, to make a new habit. So this is a great way to do that. 10 days is good for a liver detox. It's just not enough. And we do 10-day programs in the year, but we start you with the 21-day. And like I said, those 21-day are also a way to make a great habit of eating foods that are nutrition rich and fiber dense. So we're going to address your toxins. We're going to maintain a healthy weight. We're going to live a healthier lifestyle, have more energy, and improve your digestion. Such a bonus. There's a lot of research out here. I won't go into this, but they did research with the Purification Program, and it showed that when they did this program using whole food supplementation and doing a metabolic detox, we actually had lipid profiles, all their cholesterol was decreased. So if you have a cholesterol problem and you've already had your blood work test done, I would suggest as soon as you're done, we'll set you up to get some blood work then, and let's do a nutrition consult, see where you are at that point. But it's remarkable to see how quickly the cholesterol levels will go down. So here's your products. So we'll go through them a little bit. Some of you have done this before, so it may be familiar, and some of it may be new to you. So let's talk about what we're taking this week. So the first week, the three products you're going to be taking are the SP Cleanse, the Gastric Fiber, and your shakes. So the SP Cleanse is really the Mac Daddy here. It's really, really the most effective way to really send us into that phase 2. And we do that through whole food metabolic foods that are phytonutrient rich. And the very specific one is Spanish black radish. So we have almost 20 unique phytonutrients or botanical ingredients in this. It helps your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder. It helps with digestion. It helps eliminate toxins, and also with a healthy elimination. So here now, remember on this program, you're not going to be doing caffeine and you're not going to be doing alcohol, and we're cutting out sugar. There's not going to be any added sugar to anything. So those of you that are upset about the alcohol, I have Oregon grapefruit here. So you do have some wine effect in there. So no whining, okay? And then you hear Spanish black radish. Like I said, this is really the key for really putting us into that phase 2. And Spanish black radish, it's a huge black radish, and it's like a red radish on steroids. I've tasted it. I went to the farm to stand a process, and I got to actually taste Spanish black radish, but it wouldn't be something you would eat every day. So we put it into a pill form and that is the supplement form, so that you get it, have it in a capsule. It acts as a natural diuretic. So all these products that are in there have very specific challenges to help the body, or they help the body to cleanse and promote the cleansing of the whole body during this whole cleanse. So we have a lot of different products. If you, after the first week, you'll kind of get a little bit of a, once you can kind of smell it, I know this sounds weird, but you mean smell it when you sweat. What you're smelling is the fenugreek seed, and that helps with cholesterol metabolism. But once you smell it, you know you're really detoxing. And sometimes for me, it's like within the first 3 days, I start smelling it. Some of you, it might not be till the week, just depending on how, you know, how good you've been with your food. It'll tell on you. So some of you may be doing SP Complete, the dairy-free. I don't think most of you are. I think most of you are doing Veggie Pro, or you may be doing the SP Complete vanilla chocolate. So I think most of you are doing the Veggie Pro. So we're going to skip to that. Either way, both the SP Complete vanilla chocolate and the SP Complete Veggie Pro are sweetened with monk fruit. So it's 120, 150 times sweeter than sucrose, which is your table sugar. So that's 4 rounded scoops from that for both of those. So the Veggie Pro, my favorite. I'm a big fan of the vanilla. 17 grams of protein. So you can either put it in a blender bottle with a little bit of water. I'll let you use some almond milk or some kind of nut milk without sugar, coconut milk. I'm fine with that. And then just shake it and go. We'll talk about how to make the best shake. So gluten-free and vegan. And this is where I get a lot of my plant-based protein. I like it because they use things like sesame seed protein, pumpkin seed protein, yellow pea protein. And those are really important in getting that muscle building that we need. Helps to keep us full. There's a lot of cellular action that's happening in there. It's good for your energy, good for your gut, skin, hair, nails. I mean, it has so many benefits. And this is something that you can stay on after the 21 days. I mean, I use a shake once a day. Even during the program, because I do shakes all the time. So 1 is good for me. Some of you may need to do 2. Some of you may think you're starving to death and you're going to do 3, and that's fine. But no more than 3 in a day. I would recommend if you're going to do a shake, do it first thing in the morning. Do that as your breakfast replacement. And we'll talk about shakes at the end of how to make them. So none of you are doing the SP Complete, so I'll move on from that. And green food, we're going to be using that the week 2, and I'll talk about that next week. So we're going to go past that. So we're really going to talk about Gastric Fiber. So Gastric Fiber is what you're going to be taking. You'll be taking 3 of those 3 times a day. The SP Cleanse, you're going to take 7 3 times a day. And I know it sounds like a lot because it is, but it's very crucial that we do this the first week. So we really have to get that liver in that detoxification, that metabolic detoxification process. And this is the only way we can push that forward in a timely fashion. So the Gastric Fiber is super important. I stay on that year round. I like it. Or you could use the whole food fiber. I think most of you are on the Gastric Fiber. I like that a little bit better because it has a little bit of a probiotic in there as well, and a prebiotic. So that's going to help build up our good gut bacteria, but it also helps with your lipids. It helps with your sugar. So it helps get you back in that normal range and helps with good elimination. None of you are doing the Sp Detox Balance, but we do have this available. I will talk about it just for a brief moment. It's a powder. And what you do, they have it's a very challenging program. You have to do it for 28 days. And my patients that are wanting to do this and it's 28 days and you're doing it for 21, they're like, well, why do I have to do it 7 more days? That's the way the program's designed. I've fit it into a 21-day program. The problem is you have to drink the shakes because all the supplementation's in there, and you have to have 2 shakes a day with 2 scoops. So if you're only gonna do 1 shake a day, that's a little hard. I will tell you from personal experience, I've done the 28-day, I've done the 21-day. The 21-day, I feel I get the best effect from. For my patients, I get more weight loss, I get more body fat loss, which is super important. With the Sp Detox Balance, although it does detox the liver, I don't get the weight management part of it that most patients like. So that's why I'm not as excited about it as I am the other program. But what I do like about it is if I have a patient who can't tolerate taking any kind of capsules or anything like that, then I put them on this. Or if it's their first time trying something like this, it's totally new. Most patients, they're fine taking their supplements, or they can, and you're welcome to do this with your SP Cleanse and your Gastric Fiber the first week, dump them all into your shake. I personally don't like the way it tastes because of the Spanish black radish and the fenugreek seed. So I just prefer to take the capsule and get it down with the shake. So try it either way, whatever works best for you. So we have some other products we use. If you feel like you need a little more protein, we can do a Whey Pro. It is, animal-based, so a little different, if you're trying to stay more vegan. I always recommend some type of fish oil because it's good for your eyes, it's good for your heart, it's good for your skin, it's good for your bones. Gymnema is if you have a sweet tooth. Now we do the 10-day blood sugar, and this is included in the 10-day blood sugar, but this is an herb that will block your sweet receptors. So when I teach doctors, I don't do this to my patients because I wouldn't give you chocolate like that, although you're like, why not? So what we do with the doctors, when I teach a class, I get the Gymnema and I have them just suck on the tablet, and it tastes like a green tea kind of. And so I have them suck on the tablet so you can get the taste of it. And then I have them swallow it, and then I give them a Hershey Kiss. Well, when they put the Hershey Kiss in their mouth, they're very disappointed because since it blocks your sweet receptors, it tastes like black mud. I mean, just like oily mud. So if you're having trouble with sweet stuff and you really want to break that habit, talk to us and we'll get you set up with some Gymnema. It's something you can kind of take it till your your sweetness, the sweet tooth stops, and I always say, keep half a bottle up in the cabinet. So the moment you feel it come back, take a couple of them and it'll squelch it again. So you train yourself better. And then prosymbiotic. If you need a little bit more digestive support or gut flora support, we can add this in. What I always recommend is after the 21-day, we offer you a discount to do a nutrition consult as a reward for being good on your 21 days. But this way we can take a deeper look in. We'll get blood work, we'll do a system survey, we'll take a food log, we'll take a deep dive and look at what's going on with what's underlying with maybe happening that you didn't even know about. And sometimes when we're doing a program like this is what happens, is that when we're eating so clean, we find out, oh my gosh, we have a digestive problem, or we have a sleep problem, or we have this problem and that problem. We didn't know because we self-medicated with coffee or some caffeine all day, or we just ate Tums to squelch the pain. There are not Tums. Tums are not allowed on the list here, okay? So this is what doesn't work. Eating as little as possible. On the other side there, fueling your body is super important. So you can look at that. I mean, that looks lovely. That's a little salmon with a balsamic vinaigrette on there. I mean, that to me looks amazing. So that's what I want you to kind of focus on. Now, when we talk about the journey here, I have my book handy here. So they have a new book, and on the back page of this book, as you open it up, it has a shopping list, and you can tear it off and take it with you. So if it's not on the list, don't call and ask Marianne, can I have, because she's going to say no. The only thing that's not on the list that I will let you have is nut milk. So you can get a nut milk that has no sugar in it, or no sugar added, like almond or cashew, macadamia, no oat milk, no rice milk, because those are grains. You can have a nut milk. So I'm okay with that. Coconut milk, hemp milk, you can do all that. That's fine. But make sure it has no added sugar to it. And eggs, you can have eggs. But these first 10 or 11 days, we're going to try to do with just vegetable protein as much as possible. So plant-based protein is I want you to focus on. There's a movie on Netflix called Game Changers. Take a time when you have to look at that. And it talks about really switching with athletes to give them, they had plant-based protein and how much better their bodies were in performance. And it's quite interesting. I mean, I don't like all of it, but it brings up some really good points. So for me, I do mostly a plant-based diet, and we do some chicken, some fish, and we do some eggs. I don't really count eggs as much as I do fish and the animal tissue. That just sounds gross, sorry. but animal protein itself. So the first 10 days, I'd like for you to try to do it the best you can as a plant-based protein. If you feel like you can't do it and you need a piece of chicken, a piece of fish, or a couple eggs, do it. I would rather that than you feel like you can't do the program at all. So it's just, talking yourself into that. For me, we pretty much do plant-based most of the time. We'll add a little egg and a little chicken in, maybe a little fish, but most of the time we keep it plant-based and add it in throughout the rest of so you don't have to have it if you don't want. So here's how it works. So days 1 through 10, you can eat as many unlimited raw organic fruits and vegetables. Now, if possible. But fruits, we're going to caveat that, particularly the leafy green vegetables. So my number one rule is twice as many vegetables as fruit. And this is very important if you want to lose some weight. So if you're on any type of weight management program, we want to stay away from the fruit, because the only difference between nutrients in the fruit and the vegetables is the sugar. So just remember that. You can have some lentils, some quinoa, some raw seeds. You can have some spring water. You can have all your high quality oils, and we'll talk about which ones, and exercise. So I'm saying at least 30 to 45 minutes, 4 days a week. I prefer you to do something every day. So, because if you're only doing 3 or 4 days a week and you miss a day, then you've only done 3 days. And then 4 days, you haven't done anything. So I'd rather you do 5 or 6 days or 7 days a week and miss a day, and then you've done it for 6 days. So try to do a little something every day. On day 11, we'll add protein in. We'll talk more about that next week. But like I said, if this first 10 days, you can't make it without having a little bit of chicken or fish or eggs, fine, do it. If you're going to do that though, you have to use, make sure you get eggs that are free range. Free range eggs from chickens that are free range. So you don't want them to be feeding them grains. And you can go to Publix and get, I think, Pete and Jerry's. There's a couple different versions, and you can check around your local your co-ops have farm raised eggs where the chickens are actually running around in Dr. Sunshine eating grass and bugs like they're supposed to. But if they're feeding them grains, you know that those grains they feed them are probably genetically modified, and you are what they ate. So you want to make sure that they're pasture raised. The chickens, same thing too. If they're not, you want them free range, not cage free. Cage free just means they're in a big building with a light at the end of the tunnel where they can see daylight, but they're just running around in a big building. So we definitely want to stay away from that. So, and then if you're going to do fish, you want it wild caught. If you are going to do beef, I don't mind. You can do game, I don't mind. But if you're beef, I want it pasture raised and pasture finished. So a lot of times they'll say they're grass fed, but then before they take them to market, they fatten them up with grains. So you want to make sure they're grass fed and grass finished. Let's see. So we'll talk a little bit more about that next week when we start on to the adding protein in. So here's your regimen for the day. Unlimited vegetables. Watch your fruits. Remember, twice as many vegetables as fruits. Average serving size is ½ a cup. And on page 15 of your book, let me just tell you, if you can't find something to eat in this, then there's something terribly wrong. So on your page 15, you have all of these vegetables that you can choose from. I mean, there is a huge list there. Now on the next page, it tells you what you can have as far as fruits. Remember, I would stay with, if you want to lose a little bit of weight with this, stay away from bananas. I would stay more with your berries. You're safer with blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, red raspberries. You can do some apple, you can do a little bit of pear, but watch the bananas. Those are big sugar ones. So look through your it'll tell you exactly what you can have. And we don't start the protein until day 11. So if you feel like you need it, follow those guidelines. Just don't overdo. So eat organic as much as possible. Try eating them raw, stir frying them. We roast our vegetables a lot. That's probably my favorite way. We do a little sauteing. We sometimes do some lightly steamed. I don't really steam much anymore. We mostly saute and roast our vegetables. No dried or canned vegetables. Frozen is okay. We talked last night on our live class about something called Palmini. So write this down, Palmini, Palmini. It's heart of palm, and it's made into a noodle. So it's in a can. I believe the cans are BPA free. I'm almost positive. You can get it at Publix. It's in the noodle section, and it only has 4 grams of carbohydrates. So if you heat it up and then drain it and then add whatever you want to it, it absorbs the flavors of the noodle. So, I mean, whatever the noodles absorb the flavor, whatever you're cooking, and it's amazing. So it gives you your pasta without giving you all the carbohydrates. So Palmini, so try that. Publix, it's in the, I'm not sure about any other stores just because that's where we shop. You can get it online. But they also sell it in a bag too. It's a little plastic bag. So try that. That's really good. We like that. Eat more rainbow for different nutrients. And remember, the only difference between the colors of the fruits and vegetables is the sugar. Keep that in mind. Eat high water and high fiber foods, and try new ones. So if you've not tried a vegetable, try it out. So we choose veggies that are organic and fruits that are organic. So we buy local and seasonal because the produce is fresher. It hasn't been transported all over the world. We have a co-op that we use in the summertime, and the lettuce stays great for like 2 weeks. You buy lettuce at the grocery store and it's good for like 2 days. We use a living tower, and we grow our own I don't do a lot of vegetables. I do more lettuces, and we do some herbs. But your local organic farmers, they're very passionate about what they do. And that's what I love about Standard Process. It's an organic farm. It's humongous organic farm. They handpick their weeds. They have bird and bee stations for pollinators and insect eaters. And they bought property around to protect their property from any overspray. So they're quite passionate about it. And your local farmers are too. They compost. They use natural predators for insects like bluebirds or bats and all the any kind of bird. We use the hydroponic tower. That's living tower. It's in Eustis. So if you want to take a trip, go look online, living tower, Eustis. Just to go to the greenhouse is amazing. You walk inside and I could live in there. All the vegetables are growing, and they have towers from floor to ceiling. So it's quite amazing. We grow our own. So we have citrus fruit here. We have a banana palm. So we grow our own bananas. We don't eat a lot of bananas, but the bananas are that big. So when they're ripe, we peel them, break them in half and freeze them. Do not freeze them with the peel on. It doesn't work. It's very hard to get that off. We have beehives. My beehive we have 2 now. My other one didn't quite make it for various reasons, but we have 2 now, and Marianne gifted that. We're actually taking a class for UF to be beekeepers, so it's kind of cool. And so we use honey for that when we're not on the purification. And I like honey, especially when it's your own. It's even better. All right, so here's your regimen. So I would recommend for you to do a shake in the morning for your breakfast. We'll talk about how to make them in a minute. But your salads, you can have unlimited salads and fresh vegetables. Don't use pre-made dressing. Make your own. In the recipe book I'm going to send you the link for, you can find a ton of different recipes in there for different dressings. You can use good extra virgin olive oil, and you can find out, you can mix it with a little bit of lemon. You can put some spices in it, or you can use your vinegars, your apple cider vinegar, your balsamic vinegar, red wine vinegar, and your white wine vinegar. Be careful if you go down to like Mount Dora or Winter Park. I know they have those places where you can buy the olive oil and the balsamic. The balsamics have a lot of sugar in them, so be mindful of that. The oils are fine, but the balsamics are a little loaded with sugar. That's why they taste so good. They're not dummies. Come on. And so your fruit, 1 cup is 1 serving. I would say remind you again, eat twice as many veggies as fruit. Eat it organic if you can. No canned or dried fruits. You can eat frozen. So we always keep some extra frozen in there just if we run out of fresh. If you're diabetic, especially, you want to stay with those low glycemic index fruits like your berries and apples and pears. And no banana. If you're going to use a banana, only in your shake, and only use half of a medium one. Don't do grapes, because grapes are just so easy. You take a handful, walk back to your desk or wherever you're going to, and by the time you get there, they're gone. Grapes are very high in sugar, so we want to not get in that habit. So I'm going to repeat my rule again. Eat twice as many veggies as fruits. So we have to remember that now. So this really helps if you're trying to have a successful weight management program, meaning you want to lose a little bit of weight. When I teach this for outside people, I have to say that to be FDA friendly, but for you guys, I'm just telling you the truth. So your lentils and your quinoa, half a cup cooked, and that equals 1 serving. So you can cook up some, to eat off during the week, but give it a try. And generally we don't use that. We're kind of keto at home, so we don't really use, I'm more low carb at home, so we don't really use them a lot, but feel free to use those. cook them in some organic broth and use a little bit of real butter on them. Speaking of real butter, this is the butter we use. So you can get it at Publix. It's Vital Farms, and the cows are pasture raised, so they're grass fed. So the butter then is going to be better because you are what they ate. So your good oils and fats, a serving size is 1 teaspoon. You can have up to 7 teaspoons of good oils per day. And that sounds like a lot. So that's almost 700 calories just in, I'm not even asking you to count calories. I'm just telling you that 7 teaspoons is going to give you a good 700, 800 calories right there. And it keeps you satiated. So, we had this whole, fat-free kick. We'll talk about that next week. That ruined everybody. But when you look for your oils, I want you to look for cold pressed and unprocessed. We don't want anything to say hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated. So we want to look at extra virgin olive oil, and we want to look at coconut oil, also expeller pressed, organic, fish oil. I don't know that you use fish oil, but other than your cow, I prefer you to take it as a supplement. Your flaxseed oil, grapeseed oil, all those can be expeller pressed and organic, or cold pressed is another way they say that. And butter, I want you to have real butter. And this butter is my favorite. So butter is always better. So you want to avoid margarine, any kind of spreads, corn oils, canola oil. And they've touted canola oil as a healthy oil, and it's not. We'll talk about that week 3. But these are all trans fats, and your body just can't process them. And I'll go into the detail of the why in 3 weeks. So water, you've got to drink water. Our muscles are 75% water. So most of you don't even drink during the day. So you can have spring or mineral water. You can, the good rule of thumb is half your body weight in ounces of water. That's what I do. I just say get some kind of big vessel. That way you can fill it so you can keep account of what you drink in a day. Herbal teas, which are naturally decaffeinated, you can have. I will let you have green tea, and I will let you have Swiss water decaf. Specifically Swiss water decaf. You can go online. I think Whole Foods has it. Aldi may have it. Over here in Eustis, we have Health Basket. You can check in those places. You can probably get it on Amazon. It has to be Swiss water decaf. The reason being, regular decaffeinated coffee is decaffeinated through a process with chlorine. We used to do it in lab when I was in organic chemistry. So we don't want to do any kind of decaf unless it's Swiss water decaf. So I'll let you have that, but you can't have your fancy cheap creamers. You can make a bulletproof coffee with a little bit of butter and some MCT oils. If you don't know what bulletproof coffee is, you can just Google it. You don't have to buy anything fancy. You can use coconut oil and butter, and you make your coffee and you mix it up. It's just too much work for me, but you can do that, and sweeten it with monk fruit or stevia. You can use some of the sugar alcohols, and we'll talk about that next week. But try to be as natural as possible here. So try to choose organic sources as well. I like Tazo has a spicy ginger tea that I like. So I'll send you the recipe book tomorrow morning. And I really like this quote: "The beauty of food as medicine is it's the choice to heal and promote health can begin as soon as the next meal." Remember, it's a choice. Nobody forced you to drink a bottle of wine over the holidays. Nobody forced you to eat all the candy and the cookies over the holidays. So please make that good choice. And you have 21 days to really practice this. So this is kind of what I would recommend to do for a meal plan, like on a daily basis. So you can make a shake for your breakfast. Do it with blueberries, strawberries. I have an organic vanilla that I have, and then I usually use the vanilla Veggie Pro in my shake. Carrot chips, guacamole. So that's what we take to a party. And I take regular chips for people, but we take the vegetable chips for us. And then down below is the broccoli. We roasted some broccoli, sauteed the yellow squash with some onions, and that's a sweet potato with real butter on it. So that's what we would do for a day. You could do a salad for lunch, a shake in the afternoon, and then you can do a shake for dessert at night if you wanted to. You don't have to do all 3 shakes. I promise you, after the first couple of days, you're going to go, oh, I don't need to eat all this food. We eat way too much. But if you're eating foods like this, they're nutrition rich and fiber dense, so they fill you. And the important part of that is when we eat junk food, we eat it, we're still hungry. we're not so hungry because we need more junk food. We're hungry because your body's saying, hey, I'm hungry. You didn't feed me anything nutritious. I need more. I need foods that are nutrition rich and fiber dense. You give another candy bar in there, and the body's like, no, I'm still hungry. You haven't really fed me. You've just given me junk. So keep that in mind as you eat your food. When we eat these foods, they're nutrition rich, fiber dense. That's what your body wants. And I always tell patients, well, I can't eat all that food. Well, then don't eat till you're full. You don't have to stuff yourself. You don't have to eat 3 meals a day. I usually generally eat 2 meals a day. So I'm living just fine. And if we eat too much food, remember, your stomach is the size of your fist. And if we eat too much food, what happens is we put that food in, and if we're not exercising, it's very much like you going to the gas station, your car is full of gas, and you're trying to put more gas into the car. What's going to happen? It's going to spill all over the place. There's no more room for it. Same thing with you. In our human bodies, if we keep feeding ourselves food when we're full, it spills over in fat, and we know where that accumulates around. So keep that in mind. I'm not forcing you to eat all this food. I want you to start making good choices. And when you're eating these foods that are nutrition rich and fiber dense, you won't be as hungry, especially when you add those good oils and real butter. It's like I'm not bending your arm to make you have to eat something terrible. I'm just letting you eat real food. So here's what we do. And so if you haven't roasted or sauteed vegetables, some people haven't. So this is what we do. And I like it better than steaming. You preheat the oven at 450. Now we use a Silpat mat, an SILPAT, and you can get it on Amazon. You can usually get 2 at a time. And the mat goes over your tray. And then we used to use parchment paper, but that gets a little wasteful because you have to reuse it. You can't reuse it. The Silpat mat is silicone mat that you can cook on, and it's safe. You don't leach anything. If you use aluminum foil and you heat it, you're actually leaching some of the aluminum into your food, and we don't want that. We're trying to get rid of toxins. We don't want to create more toxins. Okay. So we make our platter or like a baking tray with a Silpat mat on there. We cut up our veggies to the desired bite size. I like them just enough that you can put on a fork and put it in there. I don't like to have to cut vegetables up again. Put them in a big bowl, put extra virgin olive oil on there, just kind of drizzle on there and stir it up. We add a little bit of seasoning, some garlic powder, some onion powder. So I like red pepper flakes, and then turn that till it's all coated, then throw it on the Silpat mat, put it in the oven, and just, cook it till you like it, 5-10 minutes. If you like it, crunchier, cook it a little bit a little bit longer until it gets a little crunchy on the ends. It works great for broccoli, definitely cauliflower and Brussels sprouts, and even zucchini. So we usually make more than we need for dinner, so we can have it for lunch the next day. That way you're not prepping all it. But prepping is really key for this too. So sauteing vegetables, I try to show you how I do it. I put my onion, my butter, my garlic, saute that up, and then I add my other vegetables to it. So that I added some yellow squash too. And just cook it to your desired, how you like it. Do you like it crunchy or a little bit soft? So it's your choice. So soups, this is my soup. And what I'll do is I'll send you this tomorrow as well, because I don't have it. I don't know if you can take a picture of your screen or screenshot it. But this is soup, so easy to make and so delicious. So all you do is take a head of broccoli, chop it up, and a bunch of asparagus, kind of cut it in half, put it in a big steamer. And then I use, after it's steamed, I put it in a bowl. I add a little bit of organic chicken stock, and I use a little bit of the reserve liquid, and I use a immersion blender. I don't put it in a blender because the heat kind of makes it expand a little bit. So I just use an immersion blender, we call it a boat motor, and blend it all together and just kind of add it to the consistency I want. We added a small jalapeno without the seeds, and I finally chopped it, and it gave it a great flavor without the heat. So it's great soup, and it even tastes better the next day. So we just puree it. And matter of fact, any soups that I make, vegetable soups now, I just puree it because it really blends the flavors nicely. So I'll send this to you, and you can use that for the when it gets a little. I think it's gonna be cold for the next couple of days, so we like to make big pots of soup. So your first task is to learn to be a master at making nutritious and delicious shakes. This is one of my personal favorites. I call it the Green Goddess Shake. So you can use half a cup coconut milk. You can use your almond milk, I'm on an almond milk kick right now. So I use half a cup of almond milk, half a cup of water. And I like my shakes a little thinner. When I first did them, I liked them really thick. And then I didn't like them so thick. So now I make them thinner. I put for me, I put 4 scoops of the vanilla in, 1 teaspoon of hemp hearts, 1 teaspoon of chia seeds, 1 teaspoon of flax seeds. And I also use sesame seeds too. So I just put those in. So I put my water and my coconut milk, I put my powder, I put my seeds, and then I use about a half a cup of frozen mango. Now, mango or the frozen comes in big chunks, so it's not really a half a cup. You're probably getting a quarter cup. So I put that in, and then we have our own banana. So it's a small banana and it's only half of that. So it's just a little piece. You could use avocado if you didn't want the sweet in there, because avocado makes it super creamy. And then I take a handful of kale or a handful of spinach, and it's usually frozen, because if we can't get to the spinach or kale in time, it's like not, we could really eat it as a salad, but it's not bad. I just toss it in the freezer, and then I just grab a chunk of that, throw that in there. I use a NutriBullet. I'm a big NutriBullet fan. I put the lid on, shake it up, zip it up. It takes, just a few seconds, and you have your shake ready. You can do all kind. I did last night for the class, I did a strawberry shake. So I used almond milk. I used the same number of seeds. I used like 4 or 5 big strawberries, and I used a few leaves of spinach. And then I just put it on the blender, and it was quite tasty. I used the vanilla powder. So it's got a little bit of sweet, but not too sweet. So I'll send you some recipes for those for tomorrow. So what to avoid? When in doubt, if it's not on your book, you can't have it. So that's really important for your success, because if you start slipping off the deep end there, then you're going to get out of that whole food kind of lifestyle that we want you to do. So margarines, spreads, corn oils, vegetable oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, all hydrogenated fats, canola oil. If you have them, go ahead and just get rid of them. Give them to somebody you don't like. Pour it out on weeds. Recycle the bottles. I'm not sure what to tell you to do, but you're not going to eat them after this. After I tell you how they're made and what they do to your body, you're not going to want to put them in. And margarine was touted as the health food to lower your cholesterol. They've just bamboozled you. I hate that. It drives me crazy. So no caffeine or alcohol, no coffee, tobacco, or other stimulants, no soft drinks. And you can have like LaCroix water, or I have my Buble water, or seltzer water, or mineral water, San Pellegrino, Perrier, that's fine. You can't have any nuts, beans, or dairy or grains. You can have the lentil and the quinoa and some seeds, but the nuts, beans, dairy, and grains, not right now. Too many carbohydrates. And why can't we have nuts? They're good for us. Well, I see how many nuts people eat, and they just eat too many of them. So we're going to cut them out for right now. We can add them back in after. I use a lot of nuts because I do kind of a low carb. So nuts are kind of a big part of my everyday diet. It's probably one of the big things I cut out, that and kind of some cheeses, because we do such a low carb, high fat diet. Processed or refined foods, I want you to totally limit them. I understand you may have to every once in a while, but you can still, I've been to weddings, there's always something I can eat. I take what I want to eat if I go to a party. If I'm out and about, I get hungry, I can go to Publix and I can get a bag of organic carrots and get some kind of hummus that I can eat. If there's a will, there's a way. It's all about choices. So I make the choice not to drive through McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King or Chick-fil-A. I make the choice to go to Publix, walk in, or Whole Foods, or wherever, and get that something that's nutrition rich and fiber dense. No dried canned vegetables or fruits, no cured, smoked, or luncheon meats. And we'll talk about why on that. They're full of sodium nitrate, which is a carcinogen. So I'm trying to get your body cleaned out here. So we don't want to promote any toxins into your body. So your supplements for your week 1. And most of you should have gotten a little white box that you can put 2 days worth of supplements in. So days 1 through 7, this is week 1, you're going to do 7 SP Cleanse and 3 Gastric Fiber 3 times a day. Don't try to take them all at once. If you miss it one day, just add it to the next one and until they're all gone. After 7 days, you'll have 3 left over. I just toss those in the next day. So that's not a big deal. But don't try to take them like a double dose on that, because we don't want to upset your tummy. So that's 30 pills a day. And I know it sounds like a lot, because it is. And you can have 2 to 3 shakes per day. So like I said, most of you are using the Veggie Pro. So 4 scoops of the Veggie Pro in that. And if you want to get a little more protein, make your scoops a little healthier. Remember, I sell kits with 1 protein powder, and I do that because some people don't use both powders. But if you need a powder, we have it available. Or I sent you the patient direct, so if you don't live in the area, you can always order what you want. So I gave you full capability of ordering, and you can get it within 2 days. So everybody should have a good kind of feel for what's happening there. I usually take my first set of supplements with my shake in the morning, and then I carry, I have the beauty of being able to get them at lunch, and I get up early. So I get up at, my mom says I wake up and I kick the roosters to wake them up in the morning. So I usually take my first set of supplements then. So I'm up at before 4 o'clock. So by 8 o'clock, that's most people's noon. So I'm taking my second supplements. I take mine a little bit earlier because I go to bed early. So exercise. I repeat, exercise. You got to move your body. I mean, it's really a key way to support your body during these 21 days. It's a key in, when we respirate, when we breathe, when our lungs breathe, we get rid of toxins. So we want to also, it stimulates your lymph, which also helps to get rid of toxins. It stimulates your bowels, and it stimulates your kidneys. So that helps to release the toxins as well. You've got to do cardio. You want to walk at least 10,000 steps per day. If you're doing a Peloton or you're cycling or anything like that, that's fine, as long as you're getting those 10,000 steps in per day. If you don't have a pedometer, I know all of you have one of these. And if you have one of these, there's a pedometer built right in. You can use a Fitbit. I use an Aura ring. So it's a little ring that detects all my movement. I don't wear a watch. So this is my, Apple watches are amazing. So you've got something. And if you don't have something, get something. So you have to do cardio, because that's how we exercise our heart. We can't hand the heart a dumbbell. It's a muscle. And the only way we can make the heart stronger is by stressing it. So when you go out for your walk, don't just take a leisurely stroll. Walk a little bit so you get out of breath and you feel your heart rate go up, and then recover a little bit and do that again a couple times. When we stress the heart, that's what makes it get stronger. And then you have to do something for strength as well. So when you do your 7-day, when you do your workouts throughout the week, do a day of cardio, a day of strength training. And you have to do strength training. So cardio is like paying off your mortgage. You just pay it off every month, or you should pay it off every month. Your strength training is like paying your mortgage. Once you pay your mortgage off, you just maintain. So you really have to keep doing cardio. The muscle tone, once you've built it, you can maintain it easily. So that also helps to not only maintain muscle, but the more muscle you carry, the more of a furnace you are and the more fat you use. So at the very end, I'll talk to you about low carb, high fat, and how you really can switch to kind of get your body a little bit leaner. So your goal is a minimum of 3 to 4 times per week. The authorities, whoever they are, say that you should do an hour and a half a week, and that's about 30 minutes a day. So get busy. And if your pedometer doesn't have 10,000 steps on there, you got some time. You got to better get busy and get done tonight. So some other tips you can do, some lymphatic drainage massage, yoga is great, breathing, meditation, all those are very cleansing for the lungs and cleansing for the mind as well. Epsom salt baths are very drawing. If you have access to an infrared sauna, that's awesome. Sleep, which you should be doing, at least 6 to 7 hours a night. 8 is ideal, but I know people's schedules. My schedule, I get 6 to 7 a night. Hydration, really, really key. Remember, our muscles are 75% water. So make sure you're drinking enough water through the day. Remember, in your shakes, you're getting liquid. In your vegetables, you're getting liquid. So make sure you just add a little bit more to that. So here's your plan of action. You can start, tomorrow's the 12th. If you're ready, you can start the 12th. If you don't feel like you're quite ready and you need to get some stuff, start the 13th. That's okay. So if you feel like you're ready, and even if you don't have everything you need, just do a shake in the morning and pick up your stuff, your salad for lunch, and stop at the grocery store on the way home from work. So you can make that happen. Read your program guide again. It's got a wealth of knowledge in there. I'll send you the link for the toxicity questionnaire. It's very really mind-opening, or eye-opening, I should say, because you don't realize the little things around your house that are very toxic to you. So we want to be mindful of that. Your hobbies, people that do, glue and nails and all that stuff, we're breathing that in. All right, then mark your calendar. So your class dates next week are I got the different dates here: 18th, the 25th, and February 1st. Same time, same station. I'll record the class and send it to you the next morning. So be ready to get some recipes out of here. I'll send you the cookbook tomorrow as well. Make a list of questions if you have, type them in the chat, and then make sure you have a good blender for your shakes. I like the NutriBullet, get the 900 at least. Don't get the 600. You can do, if you have a Ninja and you have a Vitamix, that's awesome. Use what you have. But if you don't have a blender, I highly recommend those. I make no money off that. I just try to get things, give you ideas of things that I know work. Try to purchase 3 to 4 days of veggies at a time, because your taste buds will change over a period of time. And do a little prep, chop up some vegetables, have some little fruit and stuff available for a snack. You can use your blender bottle and just make a shake on the go. My easiest way to make a shake on the go is I put my almond milk in there, probably about, a good 8 ounces, with the little blender ball, the little metal ball. I put my powder in, and then I stack ice on top of that. I put the lid on it and I shake it up. That keeps the powder from sticking on the inside of the lid. And then as the ice melts, it keeps it cold and it gets it a nice consistency. And then you can just take that and drink that throughout the day. So it's easy to get a shake in that way. So I will see you next week, same time, same station.